The production value on the first one was decent. I like the fact that we were like all handcuffed together in the dark and blindfolded.
Oh yeah,
That
that
was
was the best. Is how we all started coming out of them, and they're like, "No, you have to stay connected with the magnet."
we
Not
actually
us. We
broke.
were stuck on the wall.
Yeah, we actually broke the handcuffs by accident, but that wasn't exactly that's not how it was designed for us to get out of those handcuffs. But yeah, but anyway, that part I thought was really fun, but I think it was unnecessarily hard because
Oh my
that first
god.
puzzle took us like 15 minutes. That was I don't think that was
Mhm.
fair how they hid the key from us. But in any case,
Yeah.
without spoiling it for other folks who might go to that escape room in Louisville,
In Ludeville.
um, but in any case, the production value was okay. But like I like I might be a traditionalist. Call me a traditionalist, but I think I like going to escape rooms that have like three rooms. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a sense of accomplishment when I get to the next level, the next room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you
Yeah,
see like a mystery door open and you're like, "Ooh, there's another room," and you get to go in and you see another spot. Those are fun. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
um,
we know there's a bunch of those in Vegas,
yeah.
so
I mean, at some point we're gonna hit up every single escape room in Vegas, but I don't think we're quite there yet. But we did go to a good one the last time we were there with our friends, the cruises. That was pretty cool. That was like the two-parter, right? The murder mystery in the cabin in the woods. Yeah, that was in Vegas. At the outside, you had to pick up a phone to call to get in. The production quality was really low. It was nothing compared to what we experienced in Nashville when we went to the Mayan ruins one, the one where Disney
yeah.
collaborated. Yeah, that was really cool. That was a really fun experience. I don't know if that'll ever top that. I mean, we went to one in Vegas where it was like a murder adventure or something like that. It was like a haunted cabin in the woods. It was like a two-parter. It was like a 2-hour escape room.
Yeah.
Um, I thought that was actually pretty nice. The production value on that one was pretty good too, I thought. But it
That
wasn't
was
that.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that one wasn't too bad. Some of the props were a little corny, but it was still nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one too. But the ones that we had in Louisville, it was
Meh.
especially the second one. The second one was like, yeah,
Eh.
we were basically stuck in a classroom for like a whole hour,
And that one was
and
hard too, with like a lot of like curveballs and like distractions, and it was really
yeah.
annoying.
So yeah, some of those puzzles didn't make any sense. There was no connection. That's what I hate about some of these escape rooms. Like sometimes the puzzles have nothing to do with the other, or sometimes the clues have nothing to do with anything. They're just throwing random shit at you. You know, so
Yeah. Sam May from Miller's was telling us about one in Vegas. It's like Saw themed, but it's like with live actors. And I looked
It's
it
like an
up, and it actually
experience.
looks very terrifying. So I don't know if I want to do it.
Let's do
'Cause
it.
you like it's dark. It's a horror movie. Like
Karis doesn't really like horror, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, when we go to Vegas, I think because of all the money that you'll be making this week, you know, the couple of dollars that I was able to scrounge up the past couple of days, I think we'll be okay. And then Karis got like 3 sales this past week, so I think
she's ahead of all of us at this point.
I think she is ahead of all of us at the moment. But I think that that might be a little different. That story might be a little bit different by the time this week is out. So it looks like you guys are buying gumbo.
We'll see. I don't know.
We'll see. So far, we just had one meeting. It's very promising.
Yeah.
We have
Well, what do
we
you
have
what do you
two
guys what
more.
do you guys think? What do you guys think of the booking volume and the inquiry volume? Because like the thing is, I guess we could talk about this on a different episode, right? But like, you know, you see a lot of complainers on Facebook where they just, you know, they're just whining about how slow traffic is and
Yeah.
how slow the bookings are.
We're,
I mean, what's been your experience?
Yeah.
I think for us, we're in a different place. You know, we're fortunate to be in a different place. So this year for us, we wanted to cut back on the number of consults that we've normally do because in the previous years we were doing like anywhere between 80 to 100 consultations.
Well, that makes sense for 40 to 50 weddings a year. That's a 50% closing rate. That sounds about right, actually.
Yeah, but like I think we were a little bit lower than that. No, I think normally it's about in that range, but then the last year it was a little less. So what we started noticing is that because it's and I've been saying this for a while that it's so easy to book a Zoom call that ideally a lot of people that are not 100% sold on us are just meeting with us just to do their homework and they're just adding that time that could be spent elsewhere, and
What, like on
so
your video games?
Yeah.
yes, pretty much, yes. Well, right now it's being spent on video games, but as soon as the season picks up, it'll be editing and shooting. But our goal was to cut back on that somehow, like, because it was just getting too much. So part of that is we're going to lose out on a couple of potential bookings because that's our goal. Like we're like, we don't want to meet with them. We don't want to meet with everybody, even though we do want to show our value to everybody. So we're in a different place. But now,
So
like,
what are you doing with these folks who want to meet with you? Because you're saying you're trying to cut back on the meetings, right? So you're trying to
yeah.
book them on
So
the emails and stuff?
no,
No, so we've been setting full pricing in
yeah,
advance, like the full investment guide,
yep,
full
everything.
collections. And I guess that's still not deterring people because now we have 7 meetings this week. So I don't know. But it's a good thing.
It is. Yeah.
And back to what you were saying about people are saying that it's very slow, but we put a lot of effort on the back end to keep up our marketing. So the inquiry rate, it was really slow in January. And once February hit, it's just been like back to back. And almost every email that I've responded to has booked a meeting. So that's why we have so many this week. But we still do all that we need to do on the back end to get those things coming in. And to give you an example of the 7 that we have, 2 of them are sisters from past brides. So that's a referral right there. Another 2 or 3, or probably the rest of them.
Venue referral.
A couple were a venue referral, and the others are from Instagram. So
Sure.
those are the things that we always preach about and talk about of where you should be putting your time and your effort into.
Right. On my live last night, I don't know if you guys caught the beginning. I was showing screenshots of my CRM from January to the present day. I had about 30 inquiries, something like that, more or less. And we were able to book at least 6, not including Karis's recent 3.
Nice.
So in the past month or so, we've booked like, I guess, 9 weddings or whatever it is, right? So
No, that's about like what, 33% around there, 30.
yeah. But whatever it is, right? Like, yes, the inquiry volume is a little bit lower. I mean, it might, that number, I think people would die for those numbers, but the thing is, we're still not where we want to be because in previous years we've been higher. So the fact still remains, it is a little bit slower. But the thing is, I think where people might be experiencing a little bit of a hiccup is that they've always only marketed just enough to make enough inquiries. They're not over engineering their marketing machine to provide more leads than they need. I've always been a big proponent of over engineering your lead generating machine. So that way it provides more work than you actually need it, right? Because I think some people just trying to do the bare minimum, just trying to get by. And I think that when you have down years like the one that we're experiencing right now, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure because it's not enough work. You know what I mean? So in that way, I'm making enough to survive. I'm making enough to pay the bills. I'm not going to be driving Uber anytime soon. If I start putting up posts asking for second shooter gigs, that's when you guys know that
something's wrong.
There's trouble. There's trouble in
Hey,
paradise. There's trouble in paradise.
there's no shame in that either. If you have to, go associate shoot a couple of gigs, second shoot a couple of gigs, hey, there's no shame in that. You still have to provide for yourself and your family, and you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet.
Yeah, actually, and that's what I talked about in my live as well last night. Listen, there are 3 people in my life right now who have no money in their bank accounts. They're suffering right now, and I feel so terrible for them. If that's the case, if you have to, just get a 9-to-5 job, or even, if anything, work part-time at Target or whatever it is, right? There's no shame in that. I've certainly fallen from grace before in my life, and that's how I ended up in the chicken factory. I went from wearing fancy suits, going to fancy cocktail parties one weekend, and then the following weekend I was picking up trash in the parking lot of a chicken factory. Okay, because I had to put food on the table. I had bills that I had to pay. And I think sometimes we get a little emotionally attached to our jobs. We get a little emotionally attached to the image of what we should be doing, and I guess how we think people should perceive us and things like that. And, they're above all that. Yeah, like you said, there's no shame in driving for Uber or Uber Eats, DoorDash, whatever you got to do to put money on the table. That's what you got to do, man.
Yeah. But also throw a lot of your work in the back end of your business. You did maybe 2 to 3 years of where weddings were kind of just falling in your lap because of the COVID rush. And now that's gone. So like if they didn't put in that work for those past 2 years, now they're sliding back because they never realized to catch their footing into what they need to do with social media, venue referrals, vendor referrals.
Yeah.
So now it's a really like unfortunate place to be in.
You know what I want to take it back to what Ben said about over engineering your referral leads. So if you do that, right, well, what happened to us is we reached a number where we just couldn't do any more weddings, right? We just couldn't service the couples at a high level anymore. So what did we do to cut back, right? Since our hand is in every jar, we got rid of the knot. One venue that used to send us 4 to 5 leads a year is they sold the place, turning into condos. So if you think about it, we're pretty much right where we want to be. If it wasn't for those two things that we like, one just happened, one was intentional. You have the luxury of like going down, going back up, and that's the beauty of designing something that's pandemic proof, or when the times are rough. When what's what like to say? What's the word they
The
use?
going gets tough.
No, it's like when I guess what I say the word that people were using was pandemic proof, right? But what do you say when it's like just the economy that's like recession proof? I'm
Right.
sorry. Yeah, so like if you over engineer, like it just if there is a little spike, a down spike in the wedding industry, it's not going to be a huge burden. It'll just be all right. You know what? I'm shooting 5-10% less weddings. I'm gonna enjoy that break this year, and next year I'm gonna change things. I'm gonna market a little bit more, post a little more, maybe make some new relationships with vendors or venues, and see if I can
Right.
get back to the number that I'm comfortable at.
Right.
I
Because
think the people that are panicking are the ones that went from like 25, 30 weddings to like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And the thing is, for us to pay our bills, me and Karis, we only have to shoot maybe 20 some weddings a year. That's it. We can pay our bills and cover everything we need to cover. But the thing is, we don't want to ever just make enough to survive. We always want to make more than what we need. We always want to over engineer.
And Karis likes nice things, so you cannot just make enough just to survive.
No,
Exactly.
that's why I still work.
Yeah. To add on to what you said, right? During the pandemic, we had more work than we knew what to do with. But not only that, there was a shortage of labor as well, right? So you had a lot of second shooters who started charging a premium for coverage, right? Something that used to be about $50 an hour or even $60 an hour. Now they're charging $100 an hour. And the thing is, I want to say that the market has corrected itself in that way. The second shooter is a marketplace. The second shooter marketplace is just like any other marketplace. It's about supply and demand. And now you just have more supply of second shooters than you have work. And what that means is, you can't be staying at $100 an hour. I'm not. Listen, if you're out there offering second shooting services for 100 an hour, I'm not even looking at you at that point, because the thing is, I can get a pretty decent second shooter for like 65. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you
You
offering at 100 that I can't get at 65?
you can get someone who's running a successful business like myself. I used to second shoot all the time. At the
hmm
time, I would get like 55, $60 an hour. Now, like, who would you choose? Me, who has a successful business, 40, 50 weddings. I'm not looking to build a portfolio. Or
Uh-huh.
would you choose the second shooter who just does that and charging you 100 an hour?
Right.
Exactly. And honestly, if I were to second shoot for someone, honestly, you pay me whatever hell you want. All right. Because the thing is, if I were to do it, it's because because you're probably in a bind, and I'm there to help you
Mhm.
out, right? So you pay me whatever you want to pay. But the thing is, 100 an hour, gosh, how much margin do you have left over after you pay the
Right?
second shooter 100 an hour? You know. So I've encountered a couple of photographers, in the course of my coaching and in my lives, and just meeting folks in person. And that's the story that I'm hearing. I asked them, what are you guys charging? What are you doing right now? And I think they're still stuck in that mindset that we're still working with. They're still working in a 2022 type of environment.
Yeah.
Where there's just more work than we know what to do with, and there just isn't enough talent, and that's not the reality of what's happening right now in 2024. You know what I mean?
Things
Yeah.
are changing.
Yeah, things are changing. But from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that these people figure things out. They get their lives back together. But my recommendation, if you are listening, if you're one of those people that this sounds like you, right? My recommendation to you is do whatever you got to do to put food on the table. Doesn't matter what it is.
Perfect time. You have all this extra time. to update your branding, do a new website, new logo, like use the downtime to do the things that you've been just prolonging to do.
But the thing is, for these folks, they have zero money in their bank accounts. They gotta pay rent this Friday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My recommendation is like start driving for Uber like today. Get the app, and then in your off time work on your business, because obviously your business is broken. It needs help. It needs to be fixed. But you can't do that while you still have to take care of your primal needs, which is food on the table, shelter over your head. So take care of that stuff first, and then work on your business in your free time. Okay.
Awesome.
What a depressing start to today's podcast. We have such a fun guest
they,
today too.
If
Yes.
they keep listening, our guest will let them know how to make a little extra money this year.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if they listen to today's episode, our special guest is going to teach them how to make some extra money today. So on that note, are you guys ready to get this podcast started?
We
Let's
are.
do it.
Let's go. Let's
I
get it done.
guess,
All right, guys, welcome to the Focus AF podcast. My name is Ben,
I am Karis.
This is Jen.
And this is Ro.
and we are not Focused AF. Definitely not today.
No.
No.
Bad technical
I'm
issues.
out of
it. It's the Hot Mess Express today, guys. So anyway,
It's still winter.
today we have a very, very special guest. Let me talk to you guys about how this gentleman came into our lives. I first met him, actually he came into our lives like almost a very long time ago, several years ago, whenever version 4 came out. 5 come out. It was like a very long time ago. That's when he first came into our lives in our wedding photography journey. And you know, for us, it was a huge time saver, because for us, a really big pain point for us was really just getting our work done quickly, especially when we were doing the volume that we were doing. And certainly, you know, in the mid 2000 teens, we were already doing about 100 some weddings a year. And as a 2-person team, just me and my wife.
And then we were making an album with Illustrator and Photoshop. So imagine
Oh
that.
my god.
InDesign?
No, not even in it was, I think,
Oh my
literally
God.
Photoshop, and imagine the file size. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when Fundy came into our lives, it was a lifesaver. And you know, and actually, I think he saved our marriage. Quite honestly, I honestly think that Fundy single-handedly saved our marriage. So, what about you guys? What about you guys, Melinas?
I would say the same thing about Aftershoot saved our marriage. So
Yeah.
these software developers are actually saving all of our marriages.
One marriage at a time.
Fundy probably 6 or 7 years ago. I will be fully transparent that I was a Smart album user for a very long time. And then within like the past 3-4 years, I started switching over to Fundy. And then when we brought on our design team, that's pretty much who we use. So we're Fundy ever since.
Yeah, and then I think we finally got a chance to meet Fundy in person for the very first time at Imaging last year in Nashville. Was that when you guys first met him as well? Had you guys met him prior? Yeah. Turns out he's actually pretty cool in person too. He wasn't a bad fella.
The Vegas party, we kind of briefly met like on the way out when everybody was already getting kicked out.
Yeah, we tried to join the party a little too late.
Yeah. So without further ado, I think our guest is getting a little antsy here. But without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to today's guest, Mr. Andrew Funderberg himself. Woo-hoo! Yay!
All right.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad that we're all in better shape than we were last time we saw each other at the airport.
You know what they say? What happens to Louisville stays in Louisville, right?
That's right. Let's just say that I got myself and Ben a strong cup of coffee at the airport, and we needed it.
Yeah, we definitely needed it. So anyway, what's going on with you?
Oh, me, just doing the things. So we went to Louisville, launched V11, had the party. I think we recorded 19 videos in one day that we were on the ground.
Nice.
And then just flew back on Wednesday. I did take a day to recover and then right back at it.
Nice.
Do you have any other conferences that you need to attend before the next time we see you, which I think is WPPI in Vegas? I think there's one more. There's one more there's one more right before Vegas, I hear. Did you guys know?
Yeah, but we're not going to be there. So we'll be at WPPI, and then I'm not sure. What is it?
Is it Sync or something like that? Or
Sync. Yeah. Sync sports, and it's like a lot of high school, seniors and youth something.
Ah.
I know a lot of our high school senior grad photographers go to Sync.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know there's one more, and a
Yeah.
lot of I was talking to a lot of the vendors on the trade show floor that that's where they were going to next before WPPI. And I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell is that? I never heard of that one. Is that another one that I need to go to?
Yeah.
But I think I'm all conferenced out.
Yeah.
For
We're
this
good.
year.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks.
Yeah, four. Let me say four summits and conferences before March. That's just nuts. So we're not. I think we're done for the year. I think we got a fifth one coming up later this year. I think we're good. I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess one of the things that we like to start off every episode with is just a little quick bio about our guest and where you got your start and how you got to where you are today. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
So obviously I founded Fundy Software in 2008. I took the most direct path to that, which I highly recommend, get a degree in literature in college, join the Peace Corps, live in the former Soviet Union for a while, live in France for a while, move to Japan, get married, have kids, I think I was the first foreign wedding photographer in Japan. And then started Fundy Software in 2008 when we moved back with our kids who were 6 and 8 at the time. So if you wanted to get into software, remember degree in literature, Paris, Peace Corps, Japan, then software. That's the direct path.
Love it.
I've only checked off like one of those.
What?
I mean,
Which
I
is
studied
what is
literature.
it?
Which one is it? Which one did you check off?
France.
Dude,
There
you were in
I thought
Paris.
you were going to say worthless college degree because that's
Oh.
what I
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Yes,
man.
we have those. None of us are using our degrees, so
I'll gladly give it back.
Listen, Funny, I have a degree in English literature as well, and I also have one in even more useless one in German. I speak German as well.
Oh,
What?
Congratulations.
I didn't know that.
Come on, Melinas. It's like every day, like every time we do a recording, it's like Christmas for you guys. It's like a surprise for you guys. Like, what new fact am I going to learn about Ben today?
Okay. So here is a little fun fact for Ben, since we're literature degrees. I stayed in the upstairs, the Shakespeare and Company bookstore in Paris, where James Joyce Ulysses was published, like all the famous F. Scott Fitzgerald, all those guys used to hang out. So that was cool.
What, did it feel haunted or anything like that?
It did feel haunted, and there were bed bugs. And it was very cool.
I mean, it's probably a 600-year-old building, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not using any. Well, actually, I'm using my my English degree a little bit, to some degree. I can put
Prompting
two
AI
sentences together.
using good sentences to prompt AI.
Yeah, I'm very good at prompting AI. That's exactly what it is.
So I got my start in wedding photography in Japan, and that was it's very fast paced. Weddings in Japan are kind of like the military. Like there's a schedule, and the weddings start and end exactly on time. They're all approximately 4.5 hours long. And one weekend I shot 3 weddings in one weekend, 2 on a Saturday, 1 on a Sunday. And I had to turn around those albums. And I was fighting from using Photoshop to design and then using like one of the 2 album design options that were available back in the day. And it all sucked. It was also really slow. So decided I would pay some lady in Russia to write some Photoshop scripts to kind of speed up that Photoshop design process. And then a few months later, put that up for sale on the web, and I used iWeb by Apple. Remember that? You could make your own websites. iWeb. They were just horrible websites, but threw it up there, made $4,000 the first month, and then off to the races.
Wow.
Wow.
I am curious about your journey in wedding photography in Japan. Like, were you shooting locals
Yeah.
or were you shooting expats? Were you
Yep.
shooting?
So we lived in the boonies. So there were 3 other Caucasians in my town, and we were all already married. So there were no choices there. So what happened is I was interested in photography, and I just mentioned to one of my friends that I'd like to do wedding photography, and he says, "Oh, my friend's family owns a studio. Do you want a second shoot for them?" So I'm like, okay. So I started second shooting, and I would show up at the wedding, and all of especially the older people are just like, "Why is there a foreigner here?" what are you doing here? And I'd be taking pictures, doing my thing. And then one of my friends asked me to shoot her wedding. So I shot her wedding at it's an Iron Chef restaurant.
Ooh.
And the wedding coordinator liked my stuff because it was different, and then contracted me directly, and I was off to the races.
That's
Wow.
awesome. And my understanding is you're pretty fluent in Japanese as well, right? How long were you in Japan?
13 years.
All right,
Oh,
so you
man.
would be fluent. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very fluent in Japanese, but I have a hick accent.
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
imagining you're just
imagine
directing all those
like a
people.
recent immigrant from the U.S. that like learned English in Alabama with like a thick southern accent. Like that's how I speak Japanese. My wife's always like, "You're so impolite." I'm like, "Well, I'm a hick." What am I gonna do?
Did you guys hang out with Chris from Studio Ninja?
Yeah.
For a little
Yeah,
bit, yeah.
We
For a
spoke to
little bit,
him.
right?
Veronica brought us over and tried us to convert.
She brought everyone over.
Yeah.
So I think I made a bet with him or something like that. I was like, listen, why don't you say something in your best American accent? And then I'll say something in, I think, is he from New Zealand or Australian?
Australia.
Australian. Yeah.
Australian, right? So I was like, I'll say something in an Australian accent, right? And he says, and he
Oh,
starts
no.
talking in an American accent. But the funniest thing is like everything that he's saying it with a New York accent. So I guess in his mind,
Yeah.
all Americans, they sound like, Robert De Niro. Yeah. And the best thing that I could come up was like, wallaby. That's my own. That's my Australian
Oh my
accent.
I
god.
remember this now. Oh my god.
Oh no.
That's just one
But I probably
word.
sound like a hick. I probably sound like a hick Australian too. This Chinese guy who sounds like an Australian accent. All right. So you have your software company, right? I don't like saying overnight success because I imagine there's probably a lot of work that went into all of this. You know what I mean? But at what point did it, like, in your mind, that you feel like, okay, this is really taking off? Like, now I've got to grow a team. I've got to improve this, and I got to reach more people. I got to make this giant machine to really grow this so I can serve as many people as possible.
So 2008 started the company. We moved back to the US, barely made enough money to survive. Like I thought we were going to lose our house. Like it was the housing crisis. I don't know if everyone remembers. It was terrible.
Mhm.
And then, but kind of grew, add an employee there. But then in 2013 to 2014, we migrated from a Photoshop plugin to desktop software. And that 1 year, we tripled our revenues, added a bunch of employees. And that's like, okay, now we really got to figure out how to run a company. It's not just a garage project, which even though we had an office, it just kind of felt like that garage project. You got like 3 employees and you're just kind of like hustling the whole time. So it was 2014 where we really had to step up our game and really figure out, okay, instead of just trying to help people design albums, what is our bigger mission and what are we going to try to do?
Were you still shooting weddings when you came back to the US, or did you just jump right into the software?
So I shared a studio with another local photographer, and I think I've probably shot 5 weddings in the US, maybe 6 here and there, and then did quite a few high school, senior, and family portraits. And that's really where I kind of honed my skills with IPS and sales, which helped us incorporate all of the IPS functionality into the software.
How did you guys get into IPS? Because I think you're making the software, but I don't think people realize there's another,
Tool
aspect to it, which is IPS. Because we used to design albums all the time, but never did in-person sales. It was just kind of like, here's your album design, make revisions, let me know. How did you guys start integrating the both of them together?
So it was, the basic key, I was doing in the studio, I was doing in-person sales, and the only tool available then was ProSelect, which, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but I just didn't like how it worked, right? And I wanted something faster and easier. And so I wanted to incorporate it into our software and then also use the core technology to speed up album design, to also speed up like wall art design, which is really tedious to design traditionally, and cards, et cetera. So kind of using our skill set to increase that. And then I'm a big believer in helping people succeed. And when you're helping businesses, like one of the best ways to help people succeed is revenue, right? Help to create extra revenue. So it's like, hey, how can we help people make more money, right? And so adding the slideshow functionality and, the compare views and being able to create sales invoices on the fly and stuff like that. Store all of your pricing just to speed up that process for photographers.
I had a question and I forgot.
Yeah, usually Jen's on all the.
You blacked
She's
out.
really good with all the questions.
Yeah, well, she's been good so
She's
far.
bringing her-
She just,
she's bringing her B game today. Because usually she's the one interviewing. Like, I'm the comic relief in this thing, right? But usually Jen is the interviewer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're relying on you, Jen.
Jen, we're counting on you, Jen.
I had a follow-up question on photographers integrating it, and I don't know the way to ask it. So when did you start realizing, here we go, that the software was being able to take photographers to the next level in their IPS? And when did you start seeing your first success stories of what kind of money people were making with that in the back end?
So I think it was really kind of a collaborative effort. Like, we were working alongside with a lot of our, friends, power users, etc., developing that. And then also we did a big Power of Print series where we would interview photographers about their favorite photo, and usually lots of tears and crying and stuff. And then with Ben Hartley, I traveled to France and recreated one of my great uncle's photos from World War I in the studio where it was created. That was a really cool story.
Nice.
And we were just on the mission to help people learn how to sell albums and print more. Still a lot of people were still just giving people the files, etc. And it really dovetails. Like, if you want to sell albums more, you have to get into the business of selling albums and wall art and learn how to sell. And so we started working directly with a lot of people. Like, one of the first people who really took things by the reins was, Jason Marino. And, they were still shooting weddings, but transitioning into portraiture. And, they just showed how even in a small town, you can make easily an extra 6 figures per year with print products. And, once that person sees a success in its group, they were really big in the Fearless community. So then it kind of traveled through the Fearless community. And then once we started showing those products, we got people who were using different tools with IPS or using Lightroom or whatever, saw that we just made it much easier. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
One thing that we're noticing now is as all 4 of us kind of transitioned into more of an IPS model, in the sense that we have now outsourced to another company asset to do the work for us, because we always kind of felt like, A, people would never spend that kind of money. B, I don't have the time to sit there and do this with them. And then when we found this third-party solution, that's when we kind of really got invested into it and kind of now understand the value of print, and not only the value of print, but the value in ourselves as a photographer. When we see someone's willing to spend $7,000 on their print sales or even more, you get these numbers that come in and you're just completely blown away.
Yeah.
Now, as we're seeing kind of what we call a print evolution, we've kind of brought in other people in New Jersey to be in on this process as well. But we also hear negative feedback from photographers who just don't get it. Or will say, oh, just charge extra on the back end. Don't have to, it's kind of sleazy to sell afterward. Or I think I just tell my clients, just go to Shutterfly because it's easier.
And it's cheaper.
And it's cheaper. I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of that whole process and that mindset that people have.
Well, I think part of it is just a worldview, right? So if you view clients spending extra money on albums as a sale and a sales process and just making more money, it kind of only gets you so far. But the Fundy Designer users who really make a lot of money, they view this process as serving their clients, right? So in 20 years, would your clients, would they rather have a fine art leather-bound album or a Shutterfly book of their wedding? Which is going to be more valuable?
Right.
With inflation, a $4,000 album upgrade is a lot of money. But if you backtrack to 20 years ago, that's probably $200, right? With inflation, it would have been expensive back then. So if I'm thinking now, would I rather my parents spend an extra $300 to have a leather album of their wedding? 8 million %, right?
Mhm.
You know, and as kids grow up having, like, we do a family album every year. We do a signature book every year, right? It's like 150, $200 or whatever. But, you know, we have those, and every so often the kids will pull the album out and, you know, they look into the past pictures, making fun of each other,
Mhm.
you know. And so we have these heirlooms that are going to last forever. And so when we look at it through serving our clients, helping them see the value of something that they are going to cherish. It's just like when, you know, when you're renovating your house or you're buying a car, like a really good salesman, all they do is help you see the value of something that is going to be best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, you know, just like you're renovating your house and you're looking at floors and they're talking, it's like, wow, these floors are gonna be an extra $2,000 for the whole house, you know, or whatever. But they said, yeah, it's more expensive, but, you know, it's going to last. It's not going to scratch. It's going to be worth it in the end. And you do it and you feel good about it. But 5 years from now, you feel even better. Like, I'm so glad I didn't do those cheap floors.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then especially with families and wall art, I mean, studies show that kids who grow up with pictures of themselves and their family on the wall are happier, right?
What's your
Less
favorite
prone to
fact?
depression.
He
I-
loves
I've
that
been
fact.
using that
He
line
shares
for
it
the
all
past
time.
month. It's true. It's true.
And that's
And
why
it's
you got
true,
all these.
you
That's
know?
why you got all these bookings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have prints all over our house. You know, it's just like it's valuable, and also I think that people, like, when you really think about it, like, everybody loves to celebrate themselves and everybody loves to look great,
Mhm.
right? Well, everybody loves to spend money on themselves, right?
Mhm.
I mean, talk to any wife who hasn't divorced their husband, you know, and they've spent a lot of money on, like, massages and pedicures to pamper themselves,
Mm.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Hey, bro, you keep
I
this
go,
up. You're going to
I
be
go to
recording in
massages
separate
too, right?
frames like me and my wife.
So, right. So when they
We're
invest,
actually in a different house here.
when they invest in a fine art album, they spend a little bit of extra money on themselves. They feel better about
Yeah.
themselves. Like, they feel better about their choice of you as a photographer. I mean, imagine if, you know, I spend a ton of money on brand new hardwood floors, right? And I
Mhm.
call the guy the next year, is like, hey, they're looking kind of dull. And am I going to feel better about choosing him as a vendor if he
Mhm.
says, oh, just go to Home Depot, get this product and wipe him down? Or if he says, hey, for $250, I'll come out there and I'll repolish him and make him look brand new.
Yeah.
Right?
You're hired.
Who is serving the client better?
Mhm.
And who am I going to refer?
That's true.
Right? I'm going to refer whoever gives me the most service, even if it does cost extra money.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's the biggest mindset that we had to switch into as well, because we used to think the same way, like, oh, whatever, we'll just give them their files, they can do what they want with it. And then 9 times out of 10, they don't do anything with them. And then
They
they're
sit
just
and
kind
it
of
dries.
living on the computer for the rest of their
Yeah.
lives. And
Yeah.
one line
Yeah.
that I've learned lately that I love that Vanessa Joy was saying was like, your files live a digital death. So I use it all the time with
Yeah.
clients, and they kind of
it's
get like
true.
terrified, like, oh, they're gonna just die.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw, Michael T. Davis just posted 2 days ago where he had a client, you know, he sent a gallery. He's like, choose your wedding selects and then I'll design the album. We'll get together. And they were just like, had so much anxiety about, like, sifting through 700 photos. So he just did it for them,
Yeah.
you know, sent them a link that he didn't even do an IPS session. He sent them a link on a proofer, uploaded to the Fundy proofer site, sent them a link, and they bought a 100-page album.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if there's another lesson to learn here as well, you know, because as Karis and I, we grew our business. We were doing a lot of things ourselves, but it didn't really, I guess, take off until we started to, I guess, delegate. Because I mean, you're human. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much that you can do, right? So we're relying on either automating our work or delegating our work. Those are your only two options, or divorce. That's it. Those are your three options, right?
There's three
But,
options.
yeah,
Divorce
those are your
is
three
really
options.
expensive.
Yeah, divorce is, yeah, it's cheaper to keep her. That's another thing that I heard, right? It's
That's true.
so
It is cheaper to keep her. Yep.
yeah, it is cheaper to keep her. So we automated as much as we could. So we got softwares to help us a lot with that end. But even with automations, it still requires a human to put it into the automation, right? So we started delegating, right? So we started hiring editors. More recently, we hired our assistant Abby, right? Basically, she's our studio manager now, and even the most recently, we outsourced someone to help us with our album designs. It's the asset team that the Molinas are also using as well, right? And the thing is, I think one of the biggest mental blocks that people have when it comes to running their business is that only they know how to do what's best for their business, right? And the God honest truth to that is that there's really only so many hours in a day, and believe it or not, there are others who would love to take that work off your hands, the boring, tedious work. And it's very possible that they can also do a better job than you as well. But even if they get it to like 85 or 90%, they're freeing up so much time in your business that you can focus your energies doing other things in your business, or you just, now you have the freedom to go take an afternoon nap if you want to. You know what I mean?
Start a podcast.
Exactly. Is that what you guys are doing with your extra time? So, but anyway, I think that's the biggest mental block that people have when it comes to even IPS. They think that they know how to do it best, and they're going to try to do everything themselves. And the thing is, this is my belief anyway. In order to do this properly, it does require a little bit of a time investment, not only to learn how to do it right, but also to actually serve your clients properly. You need to spend that time with the clients during that reveal call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not all of us have that luxury of time. Some of us are, full-time parents as well. We have young kids in the house we got to take care of. Sometimes maybe we have other family members we got to take care of. We got other things going on. So, having a team to help you do all these things, whether it's IPS or even running your studio or even, helping you edit photos and stuff like that. I'm all about, freeing up my time so I can enjoy my life a little better and stay married. That's the key thing here. Stay married.
Yeah. Because we know somebody's even busier because, she has 3 kids, one of them named Ben.
Yes, single mom.
Oh, you guys are talking about Karis. I was like, who do we know
Took
has
him
a
a
young
little
kid
bit.
named Ben? I was like, who do we know?
Oh my God.
Single mom.
Your mom, 3 kids.
Plate
I
is
was like,
full.
For sure.
Ben
was
is the
funny.
worst one.
Yeah. That was great.
So Fundy, what do you want photographers who are just coming in and to know where things are going for the future for you guys?
For us, so for the company or for the industry?
Well, everything.
For the beginner is just to know that it's really easy, right? Just don't overthink it. Load your photos in, follow the prompts, design an album, some wall art, and then just show it to your clients. Like, that's it. Like, even in the beginning, I've had people who they're like, I was too scared to show anything, so I just exported wall previews and I texted them to my client. Just said I texted the images and the client ordered something, right? So just try, right? And then one thing we always forget, I think we can all remember the very first time we tried off-camera flash, right? The first time you do something is going to be the worst time you do something, right? Your first IPS session is going to be the worst. So just be like, hey, this is going to go terrible. Let me try it. Let's just jump in, right? And then the next one will be less terrible and then less terrible. And then I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, hey, I'm pretty good at this actually, right? So just try it. It's just like anything else. It's just like that first year of marriage. We're terrible at it.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. But I think from a larger picture, I think that we can take some cues from other industries. Things like every year for the past 5 years, the vinyl record industry has broken sales records. Like, it just keeps going up and up and up. The product that kept Fujifilm in business was their Instax prints. Their Instax prints makes way more money than their cameras do for Fuji. Paper books are making a huge comeback versus Kindle. So the more our world becomes digitized and the more photos that we have that are digital, the more valuable product becomes. So real things are just going to become more and more valuable, right? Especially high quality real things, right? Because we're being inundated with either digital or the cheapest of the cheapest via Amazon and, China or wherever the cheap things are made from coming to us, right? So we have to key into the fact that high quality physical goods are currently and are going to continue to be the most valuable things in our world. So if we lean into that, it'll A, set you apart, and B, it'll make you more money, right? Because you'll be a more valuable commodity. So remember when everybody thought NFTs were going to be this big thing,
Yeah.
right? And they
I
were.
was just
for
going to
6
mention
months,
NFTs. Yeah.
right? We look at a wedding album. There's one of them. But when we're a photographer and you only provide digital images, what's the first question the client asks? Like if you're digital only and they're like, hey, this is my packages, it's $3,000. What's the first question they're going to ask?
Can I get the files? And can I get the copyright release?
Can I get the files? And also, how many do I get?
Yeah.
How many images do I get? Right? It's a quantity game. That's all
And
they
how
care about.
soon?
Do I get
And how
4,000?
soon they get it too.
Right. Yep. And one of the things I like to talk about is the simple law of supply and demand, right? As supply goes up, demand and price goes down, right? If supply goes down, price goes up, right? Very simple. Everybody knows that rule. Well, if everybody is walking around with their phone in the pocket and they have infinite number of photos, right? So as supply goes up, price goes down. What happens when supply is infinite? What does that price become?
Close to nothing.
It becomes zero,
Yeah.
right? When we have an infinite number of photos in our phone, then the value of those photos goes down to zero, right? Digital images, while special and we can charge for shooting the event, like selling those digital items is really difficult. But selling a fine art album where there's only one in the world, where supply is only one, then the value shoots way up.
Sort of like NFTs, right?
Exactly. The opposite of NFTs. Yeah.
I love it. He's just gonna laugh 2 seconds after.
Yeah, because of the lag. It's funny.
It's sort of like when
I know.
you go to
Yeah,
these
yeah.
European conferences and the speaker makes a joke, but it's got to go through the translators before it gets to the audience, and then there's like a 5-second delay until
Exactly.
the audience
That's
starts
exactly what
laughing.
it is. Yeah. I'm speaking Japanese and I'm being translated by AI right now. That's the delays there.
Yeah, but I mean, I love what you said. Because it is one of a kind. There's going to be more value to it. Let me tell you something. My parents, when they got married a long time ago, they were broke. They were broke as a joke, and they were only able to afford 3 prints. It was a bride solo, a groom solo, and a picture of them together. Those are the only 3 wedding photos that they have of themselves. They didn't have the negatives. They didn't have anything. Those are the only 3 prints. It's an 8x10 and then 2 5x7s of the solos. Right? That's all they got. And the thing is, it got some water damage over the years. Thankfully, thank God, their kids became photographers. They were able to retouch it, restore it, scan it, and then make new prints out of it. Right? But the thing is, that's all they had. I mean, it was invaluable. There's no price tag that you can put on that. Because of course that studio is no longer around. That's all they have. You know what I mean? This includes all the pictures that we had when we were growing up in the 80s, like sure there are negatives, but the negatives are not in really good shape, right? So these prints are all we have from our childhood. And there's no way for us to reproduce that. And for that reason, it's invaluable. There's no price tag that you can put on that. So when my parents started cleaning out their closets and cleaning out their attic and storage, my brother and I, we were just divvying up the albums because we knew exactly how valuable these things were. Because, those things are important, at least for sentimental folks like us. These are memories of our childhood. It's treasure. I don't know if you can actually put a price tag on any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty normal to be a little sentimental about that stuff. You know, but maybe
yeah.
that's just me.
No, for sure. I mean, my parents, they have a little bit more. They actually have a wedding album from the 83. And it's very 80s with like superimposed, like my mom is like in my dad's head. And then like there's like
There's
song
fireworks.
lyrics behind
Yeah.
them. I don't know what they were doing. And there's like a champagne glass with like their
Yeah.
silhouettes. Like it's a good time
That's
to
been
look back
better.
on them.
Yeah. Love it.
You should totally recreate that, you two.
Yeah.
Oh
I'll
my
help
god.
You know what?
I
Let me do it for you
volunteer.
guys. I
I
volunteer.
volunteer.
Yeah.
Did your mom have really huge 80s hair?
Yes. And the big puffy sleeves with like pink puffs with like huge, like the bridesmaids wore. And then like the photographer
Yeah.
made them do like cheesy things. Like
Yeah.
they went
Like
to the
tug of
park
war?
and like they
Tug of war
pretended
with
like
the
play
groom?
tug of war with the bride and groom. And then like
Oh yeah.
they had my dad like pretend to give
Did she
my
do this
aunt a
pose?
kiss.
Did she,
Yes.
was there one of these?
He's frozen
You
again.
Good luck, Fundy. We should have all done this.
The worst.
I think
I don't know what's going on with
yeah,
my
he was
Wi-Fi
stuck like
today.
this. I think
I don't know
Fundy's
what's
on
going
like 56K modem wherever he is right now.
Is in the basement dungeon somewhere.
I don't know what's going on over here.
The
Yeah.
crazy thing is that I actually have a wedding photo like this that we use a studio, and he had me lay on the bed
With
Yeah.
her feet up.
with my
her
feet up behind me with my legs crossed, and I was like this.
Hey Jen, was this your
The
engagement or
rabbit
wedding?
ears. Yep. Yeah.
Was this
Wedding.
it was a wedding. Was this the same photographer who did your engagement photos who did the selective coloring?
Yes.
Had you in a bed of roses? Had you like sort of like
Yes.
American Beauty where you're like on a bed of roses and like
Oh no, those were our glamour shots. I don't know if you remember, like in the malls, there used to be these studios called glamour shots.
They still have them.
And then they became different company was kind of like,
Yeah.
what's the other one? I can't remember. There was another company very similar where you would just go and take your family photos. And
At the mall.
it was
yeah,
so
those were-
romantic. Rolando was so romantic. You know, he has backwards cap on and his polo, and he's going in for the kiss with the rose petals. And like, I don't know, were you guys sharing a rose petal? I don't know what you guys were doing.
That was all the photographers' like ideas.
Sure.
And,
Sure. Uh-huh.
This was 20 years ago, guys. 20 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
But yeah. But we have those in print. I will say those were the
I'm sure it was Roland's
originators
idea.
of like when you would go to the mall and get your photos taken as kids, you had to have your photos in print. And your parents would buy
Yeah.
whatever package it had to be because you couldn't walk out with digital. You would walk
Yes.
out with a packet of printed photos, and that was it.
and you did it right after the session.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah.
as the years went on and digital
Oh, yeah, they
became
would
more
print right on the
common.
spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like Santa, mall Santa photos, right?
Mhm.
You get
You know that
get
first,
five-
yeah,
little
the
bit,
first,
little bit more higher end, but yeah.
the first year,
Are you
the first
are
year,
you sure?
the first year we did Santa photos with the kids. We went to get the photos. I was like, holy shit, $25 for a print. So the next time I went, I brought my camera and I shot behind the other camera. I was like, oh no, I don't. I just wanted my kid to meet Santa, but I got my photo already. And I think after that point,
Yeah.
they stopped. They put like trees around everywhere, so you can't even shoot behind the
Yeah,
photographer
yeah.
anymore.
He had like
Because of you. Because of people like you.
7200. Yep, he had his 7200 like
Way to go,
behind
Ben.
him there.
And then I had like maybe my wife doing the OCF, right, just to make it a little better, right?
But
Because
isn't that
like me.
crazy? Like you remember, like you were like, holy shit, $25 a print, and now how much are you spending like selling a print for?
Yeah.
Like you
Did-
don't realize
did I
where
tell
you're
you
gonna
guys-
wind up in the future.
Fundy, I don't know if you know this. I'll share this with you, right? I don't do this to pat myself in the back because I'm still new to all of this. But last night, our design team grossed close to $8,000 on a print sale from one client.
Nice.
Woo-hoo.
Nice.
That's more than what I charge the client for coverage.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing. It's
The in the storyteller group, we just posted like what was your biggest sale last year, and a lot
Uh-huh.
of people are posting, and 8,000, 12,000. Somebody with Fundy Designer did a $68,000 portrait sale.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy.
I was like, that is unreal.
Wow.
And oh my gosh.
Unreal. Yeah.
Was that
And
the
then she-
biggest sale you've heard of from a Fundy user?
It was at Imaging. I heard one user had a $63,000 wedding sale with multiple albums. But
Wow.
68,000 is the biggest one I've heard so far in Fundy Designer.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's a whole salary. Like
That's
You can
really
get,
salary.
crazy. Yeah.
Just
Oh
do-
my gosh.
2
Yeah,
weddings
that's like
a
a full
year.
year.
you can get a
Exactly.
you can get a well-equipped 3 Series for that kind of money.
Yeah,
That is.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that's
is
you can get a car with that kind of money, you know. And I'm wondering, are these people just putting
Yeah.
68 grand on a credit card, or I don't know. Wow, that is just mind-boggling to me. Well, listen, however they
Yeah.
pay doesn't matter,
No,
you know.
yeah.
But
Black card. Exactly.
No limit. No limit.
who am I to say no? If they want to spend the money, right? Who am I to say no, right? But
I could
like,
save you 3%,
exactly.
3% by not paying with a credit card.
I could save you 7%
That's-
if you
so
don't
that's
pay by
one thing-
check either.
Yeah. So I was listening to a speaker once who was talking, and somebody in the class was like, well, I don't, want to offer products. I don't want my clients to have to spend extra money. And he said, would you walk up to your client and tell them that they shouldn't have bought the car they're driving?
Mhm.
And they
Mhm.
said, no. Why not? Well, because that would make me a jerk. And he's like, yeah, it would. if you are making the decision to not allow your clients to spend money on their print, you're just being a jerk. Like you're like making their financial decisions for them.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
let
Like,
let
that's
them
not
decide what they
nice.
want to buy. Yeah, let them know.
Yeah.
Let them decide what they want to buy.
Exactly.
That's it's not your decision to make. You know,
Yeah.
you're just putting it
Better
in front
they
of them.
spend that on a And what's a better investment, the $8,000 wedding album or an $8,000 Birka bag?
Mhm.
Karis might say the
Like-
bag, but
Well, I mean, at least it's a toss-up.
have you met my wife, Fundy?
Hi.
Let's just say I have met wives before.
For sure.
That's one of the biggest things I've heard Michaela talk a ton of times about. She's like, how dare you tell your client
Or judge them.
on what they can or can't spend.
Mhm.
So like we wouldn't, if we
Yeah.
see someone walk in with a $10,000 Rolex, you're like, ooh, that's amazing. But like if they want to invest that in something tangible from their wedding or for their heirlooms, you're like, this is ridiculous. You spent this much on that. And it's a very like twisted materialistic mindset, I think, that we've all grown up with.
Yeah.
So I'm really appreciating that we're all changing.
Yeah. And I don't know if Ben, you've had the same experience. Like I dress like a slob. That's just like I am in shorts.
Why are you looking
and
at
a
me?
hoodie. Like all this, listen. Well, because you're in a hoodie. And multiple times, like I've gone into a Lexus dealership to like look at cars, and they just, they didn't give me good service because of the way I was dressed. And I was like, that really pisses me off because they didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
if I could afford it or not. And that is, we don't want to judge people, right? We want to offer them. And if they can't afford it, they're like, hey, that's too expensive. Then you'd be like, okay, well, we can make the album smaller. Let's take some photos out, or let's do this or whatever. Right. And
Right.
it's all about giving service.
Yep.
One of like our highest sale that we had was this very low key small venue wedding that we did, right? Like they probably spent more on the photo collection and their album more than what they did for the whole venue. So,
Yep.
like sometimes we're very easy to judge certain clients by the way they look or by the venue or how much they're spending. And we've learned like a while back to treat everyone the same because, the next person is the person that you're probably going to give you your biggest sale because of the way you made them feel.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. I think that's what it is. Even like wedding day tipping, like I think people that tip like higher amounts are not the most like wealthiest and lavish
Mhm.
weddings.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's people that really I think understand the value of service that we're giving. I think that's those people tip better than others that are look wealthier. Yep.
Yeah. And I like the idea of what you said of like, you can always cut down on the album that we present to you, but no matter what, we're still going to treat you like every other client. We're going to make sure you're walking away from this meeting with your album, and we gave you the same service that we gave someone who's going to spend $20,000 on their album or whatever the case may be. So I
Yeah.
think that's the key for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but if my wife judged me on the poor slob that I was, when we got married, but she didn't judge me by its cover, and she's done pretty well since then.
What she got was priceless.
She was like, you know what? I'm gonna put my money on this horse
She had
here.
no idea what she was getting. It was just amazing, top tier husband.
It's funny. Did I ever tell you how on our first date with me and my wife, I was leaving our date every 20 minutes because I was going to feed the meter because I didn't want to park in the garage because there was free parking on the street for in just about an hour or two, right? But I was like, you know what? I don't want to pay for the garage. So not only was I a slob, I was cheap too. So and so basically, I was just running around with with a roll of quarters, just feeding my meter on my first date with my wife. It's like, sorry, I'll be back in about 20 minutes, or I'll be back in 5 minutes. But every 20 minutes, I was leaving a table to feed the meter.
She's probably like, this guy has diarrhea or something. He keeps leaving.
Yeah. But Funny, do you have anything that you wanted to show us today? Was there anything that you wanted to talk about today? Anything that you want to plug? Anything that I know V11 just came out. I mean, is there anything you want to talk about? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Do you want to do a quick screen share? You see the screen?
There we go.
That's your screen. Now we go. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Okay. So I just want to show people how simple it is, right? Okay. So I'm going to create a project. I'm going to import my photos. Let's find something with a few photos here. Okay, so I retouched the photos. I'm going to do a square album. I'll do a metal cover. I'll do a bunch of gallery wraps. And then I will do a thank you card. And then I'm going to click design. And that's it. So now I have an album, right? My album's done.
Oh.
I have a bunch of wall art that I can show.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really nice.
Nice.
And then I've got my card, the thank you card
So sweet.
with your branding on it.
Is there an option for magnets?
No, stop. There's no magnet.
No magnet, but there is a snow globe. We're gonna add the snow globe module where you can put yourself in a snow globe.
Funny, how does it know? How does it know that to pick that picture for a thank you card? It just knows.
So everything will prioritize a higher star rating. So I did all the best shots are 5-star, so it will prioritize choosing 5-star images. But then if you don't like that image, right, it's easy to swap it out. Maybe they got a divorce, so that you want to just have the bride in there.
Just the bride. Fuck the
groom.
So sweet of you.
Or maybe they'd rather do a collage on the.
Oh, that's nice. So easy,
right?
So quick and easy.
So, like in my instance, I've never designed an album in my life, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is stupid easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
beautiful.
and then you can adjust and.
Right. Wow. Now it's not even a drop and drag anymore. It just uploads all the photos into pages, layouts. That's amazing.
Yep. Right. And then you can go into this layout. I don't like this layout, so you can look at
right.
different
Wow.
options.
I love it.
Oh, and just choose different
ones.
Yeah, you could go in, and that is amazing.
I know White House Custom Color does something similar too. Like you drop all the photos and it'll populate all the
but
the
it's
things.
not. No, it's not as easy. This is like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how Funny's been for a while, but like it's, and I hate to say it's quote unquote easy because I don't want people to think that like anybody could do it, because you still need to have that knowledge of how you want the story to be told, how the images to be laid out. But you still want it to be easy enough that when you're in that IPS meeting that you're not wasting people's time and you're just able to maneuver things around quickly. So that's the amazing thing about it.
Is this your slideshow?
And then, and then the slideshow. So like this is just the slideshow of the album. You can do a slideshow of the images or the album and the wall art and whatnot. But this is the moneymaker, right? Because most people will just do a slideshow of the photos, but it's the slideshows of those designs.
That's what
you see the
through
story.
the emotional.
Yep. And they could imagine the actual album. Yep.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
So, for a beginner, literally that's it. All you need to do is I stopped sharing my screen. like all you need to do is do the auto design and then do a slideshow and show the clients and be like, hey, do you want that? Or do you want to make some changes? And then you just walk through the changes with them. And that's it. It's a design consultation. And you're just letting them know that I designed a really big album. We'll take out whatever you don't want. And then whatever's left over, you just pay the extra for.
Yeah.
Sound good?
And if you don't,
And that's
that
it,
sounds
right? That's your sales session.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
what is all the cool features with V11?
So the cool features, that module that you saw with we call that the design wizard. So you can design album, wall art, card. In April, it'll do multiple cards. So you can just like choose thank you cards and it'll design like 10 thank you cards for you.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
then we threw in a bunch of free extra stock rooms for mocking up wall art, a bunch of new card templates, album templates, and then everything's sped. The program works a lot faster now. And then also putting the perfectly clear up front so that you can retouch your photos just on import and show fully retouched photos to your client.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Are we able to use the client's like actual space to do the wall art?
Yeah. And with modern phones, just have them take a photo. And then modern phones, Apple has it embedded, and I think Android has the same thing. They have a measure app. So you can just be like, hey, just open the measure app and just measure the height of the wall for me and take a screenshot. And then you know how big it is, and it will size the photos direct, like a 16 by 20 will be 16 by 20 on their wall. So it's great for selling those collections because they're like, oh, I just want a 16 by 20. You're like, okay, well, here's a 16 by 20 above your sofa, and it looks like a postage stamp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that looks a little small. It's like, oh yeah, most people get a collection of like 5 above their sofa. Let me show that to you.
You get 5 postcards.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. In all honesty, that's awesome. But you know what's funny, Fundy, and I don't know if we're going to leave this in the podcast or not, right? But I don't know if you could tell because you were interviewing my wife, you were interviewing a whole bunch of people while you were in Louisville, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, as I revealed to you during this recording, that part of my business, I was never really that involved in. It was always been delegated. And my wife was always in charge of the software and album designs and stuff. So when you were asking me questions about album designs and stuff, even the Moliners are like, of all the people in the world, why did they ask Ben Lau? Because I know the software and I know what it does, but
He's never used it.
I've never touched it.
That's fine.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
But I understand the power of it and how easy it's made my life and my wife's life. How much it's saved our marriage. I understand the importance of all that stuff. But as far as the actual insides of the platform and the program, now we have someone else other than my wife taking care of that now. So,
it should be the new Fundy tagline. It saves marriages.
Saves marriages.
Saving marriages.
We're gonna do a hashtag Fundy saves
Since
marriages
2008.
Yep.
Since 2008. Yep. Let's make it happen. We'll start a hashtag saving marriages since 2008.
Okay. All right. I like it.
All right. What else you got for us, Mr. Fundy?
That's all I got, man. That's it. Just all the cool stuff.
Yeah. I do have a question for you. This is a serious question.
Yeah.
Because we were the co-hosts were debating this, right? Do you prefer to be called Andrew or Fundy?
Kind of depends. Most of my friends just call me Fundy now, even like my running friends. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's fun too.
Andrew's fine though. Yeah. I feel like when we're having fun, it's like Fundy, but then when we want to be serious, it's like Andrew.
Do you ever go by Andy?
Not since 1988.
Andy's here, and then everyone just passes out, right?
Although whenever I'm at like a coffee shop and they're like name further, I always say Andy because that's like everybody can like they can hear that really easily and write it on the cup. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
That's true.
So what would you like to see, the last question, moving forward with what I like to call now like a more of a print revolution?
So, I mean, I think what I would like to see is kind of what's already happening. Is just more and more people embracing print, and we can even see that, the number one demographic that spend money on Instax prints is Gen Z. Like it's the
Mm.
20-year-olds, right? So some people are like, oh, I'm afraid the younger generation isn't going to invest in print. It's going to be the opposite. They're going to invest more because they
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
They never had it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
They didn't have it growing up. So I think the ball is rolling. So what I love is just more and more people invest, leaning into providing printed product and providing clients. And, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to like show my clients. Well, if you spend an extra 90 minutes with each client just showing them designs, you can shoot half as much and make the same
Yeah.
amount of money, right?
Yep.
You're actually, it takes less time to make more money. You just
Mhm.
cut down on your shoots,
Mhm.
or you create a system in sales and then you just hire, like everybody knows someone who's a professional salesperson that has some extra time in the evening to run their sales for them.
Yeah.
Like just ask around your friends, who's in sales? Hey, do you want to do my album sales for me?
Yeah.
I'm
Once you
in.
get the system dialed in, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. And what you mentioned about the younger generations, because we're noticing that all that now as more people are shooting film. And we
Film,
started
that whole
shooting
film
film
trend.
recently. And it's
Mhm.
not like they actually want not just the film scan, but like they actually are appreciating having like a film print.
Yep.
And I never thought of it that way. Like they never had it. Like our generation had it, but the youngers they just had just a phone, so they don't realize now
Yep.
that they see it. It's like that nostalgia effect. And people,
Mhm.
I feel like younger generations love more and more. They love nostalgia and quote unquote
Yep.
vintage stuff. So it's good to kind of now really implement that into them.
I mean, the mullet made a comeback. So
What?
like,
Listen, if you grow a mullet, I'll grow a mullet. Okay.
I am not gonna grow a mullet.
But it's the cycle, I think, of like even like every decade, like now 90s clothes are back. Our generation people are back wearing clothes from the 70s. So like
Yeah.
it's always a cycle, but printed items is something that is timeless and will never go away.
A couple of years ago, I had to teach my younger son how to peg his jeans because the kids are pegging their jeans again, and he was doing it wrong. I'm talking
What's
about where you
what's
fold,
pegging the
like, you
jeans
fold
like?
it
Pegging
down
your
the bottom.
jeans.
Like folding it
Yeah,
up?
pegging. Pegging your jeans down to the bottom, where you fold over the cuff of the jean so
Yeah.
that it's really narrow, and then and then you roll it up a little bit. But you got to get
let me
that
tell you
crease
why.
just perfect.
Well, the reason why I pegged the jeans, my jeans when I was little, wasn't because for fashion reasons. It was because we were poor, and I was going to grow into these pants. So
Yeah.
this was going to let us save at least 2 years of wardrobe. You know what I mean? But it wasn't for fashion reasons. I can guarantee you.
Well, you were fashionable and you didn't even know it. Look at that.
You know,
You're leading the
That's right.
fashion
but
industry.
but the thing is, like, I can't find my cargo shorts anywhere. I have cargo. I could have sworn when I got into this marriage, I had cargo shorts, at least 5 pair. I can't find them anywhere in the house.
You will
They
never
never-
find them
Thankful.
again.
They never
Should be
came into
thankful.
this house. They're never there.
I have jean shorts. I have all the coolest, all my favorite pieces of attire, and I can't find
Yes.
them. So,
No,
Oh,
no.
Yeah. guys, you guys should see the picture that Fundy was able to screen cap. Talk about good timing on this guy. Did you guys?
Yeah, I
did you
posted
guys-
it to Facebook already.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
go tag
You
yourself.
guys are
in it.
multitasking.
you guys are Fundy's quick, man. Fundy's quick. Listen, Fundy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh,
We're
thank
so
you.
honored. We're so honored and thrilled to have
was
you
fun.
here with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to get some Japanese food in Vegas when you guys are here?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
if
now-
you know
now
a
we're
good
officially-
spot, we're down.
He does. So now the rest of the crew is officially invited, I guess, right? So I guess you're joining us.
Do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So you were gonna leave us, Ben?
I wasn't going to invite you guys on his invitation. What's that?
This is not the army. You will be left behind.
Yeah. But the Molinas have a running joke is every time they come out to eat with the Laos, it's always Asian cuisine. So it's hilarious that when we're going out to eat with you, it's Asian cuisine again. So
Yeah. Well, it's the best. What are you going to do?
Only the best. Only the best.
I trust your judgment.
yeah.
So
Well, if
we-
there's
Alright.
anything, anything that you need from us, Fundy, that you need to help push the power of print and anything that you need to help with Fundy, we're more than happy to be there for you guys because we believe in it too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
1000%. So where can they find for folks who aren't familiar with the software, which I would think be insane, but for those of you guys who don't know where to find Fundy software, why don't you tell the folks at home how they can find you in the software and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so fundydesigner.com, free trial. And then also I forgot to mention I did a short blog post called 50kextra.com, 50kextra.com, and it gives the major highlights of how to start incorporating print and doing album and wall art sales. Just from a high level, if you follow, there's 3 steps. You follow those 3 steps, it's going to get you halfway there.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. All right, well, you guys
There's
go ahead
no
and check that
excuse
out.
now.
Yeah, there's no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Well, Fundy, thank you so much for joining us today. We
you
can't
so
wait to see you in a few more. We're going to see you in a few more weeks in Vegas, so we're going to enjoy some
Yeah,
very
we're right there.
yummy Japanese food.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thank
So,
you.
guys
so
later.
on that,
Yeah.
so on that. Oh wait. So on that note, are you guys focused
Go
AF?
We
Yeah,
are.
we are.
Watch
Now we are.
Focus.
Focused AF is a fun business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams Ben and Karis.
And Jen and Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you focused AF?
I am Focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be Focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.